Hi everyone. So we are going to walk through, as I talked about yesterday at the end of class, our lessons here for today, or to finish up that smoothie file. And so the first part of this, what I want to do is I found a couple of, I don't know, problem areas here that I kind of went in and fixed. So I'm going to walk you through that first so we can get some of this cleaned up just a little bit and tightened up. Some of the problems were for the fact that we weren't using the same font family as what my initial lesson is recorded in. So I went in and kind of changed some font sizes and some padding and margins and so on to help clean that up. And the other thing that I did was went in and changed the reset.css to a simpler reset so it wasn't conflicting with some of the elements that I was having you set up here, some of the styles and so on that I was doing. So we're going to start with that, but as I always say, the very first thing when you come in is you need to start your new site and make sure that you're working off of over here, off of that panel over here. So I'm going to go in and do my site, new site. And I'm just going to name this, I'm going to say something like Smoothie 2, but you guys can name it whatever. But I've been working off of a couple of different smoothie sites here. Folders, the root folders and all for smoothies, so I don't want to have any conflict. And then I'm going to click on my browse there. And I'm going to go ahead and navigate to the smoothie folder. Now I've sent you guys, or I will, you'll have that before you start watching this recording. So I sent you the file that I want you working off of. And so that's the one that we're going to choose now. And actually, don't do this. Don't cancel out of here. I'm going to cancel out of here because I want to go in and just cover myself here and make a copy of this because I've been working off of a couple of these here, and I want to make sure that this is going to be the one that I want to use. So this will be, for you guys today. So today's date is the 24th. And then this is the file you are going to start with. So that's the one I'm going to zip when I'm kind of done here. I'm also going to update and put in the final base and the final HTML in there so that you have that with you so you can look at the code, in this RTF document into the text document there. All right, now I think I'm happy, hopefully. Hopefully this, I didn't mess up here now. I've been working on so many files this morning, I don't know. All right, so I'm gonna go back here and do my site, new site. You guys are probably already in that window. I'm gonna call this Smoothie 2. And then navigate to that smoothie folder that I have given you. So wherever you copied that to or downloaded it to, go ahead and get that and then say choose and say save. And then what we want to open up here is the index.html. Now I know for Gary, he likes the pointers, so I do believe in here I have that pointer with me. So I'll look in here. If I don't, then you're out of luck. Uh-oh. I thought for sure I had it on here, but it doesn't look like it. Oh, here it is. The new Mac, it sorts everything out like this, and I don't like it because I can't find anything then. Okay, so I got my pointer, And what we're going to do is open up the index.html file. And then when you do that, remember that that's also going to open up all of this other information here. Now, one of the problems that I discovered with why some of the things were not working right is the positioning of these two. So this link here, your reset, should actually be up above the base.css because that's how it reads it. So in other words, what was happening with some of this, so down here, remember, we were kind of having a problem with this situation here, with all this being scrunched up and everything. And part of the problem with that was this. So what I need you to do is to highlight the reset link here. So that's line 7 on here. Highlight that. Cut it. So Command X or edit cut. That'll put it on your clipboard. And then after the title, hit return and paste it. Command V. And now that fixes, one of the issues. The other one here, which I'll get to in 1 second here, but you see how now our spacing is kind of starting to take shape here. And that's what we want. So now all of that, so again, keep that in mind that, whatever is on the bottom takes precedence on what's on the top. And that's true in any CSS file. Whatever's down below, if you have any conflict and you wrote 3H3 codes, styles, that whatever's on the bottom is going to take precedence. All right, so let's kind of go in here and fix some of these other elements. So I need you to go into your base.css, and we'll just I'm just moving things around so that it looks right to me. All right, so we need to save this, Command S, and then let's go to your reset. That's the next thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to take some things out of this reset that I just plain don't want. And so what I'm going to do for you guys is I'm actually going to go in and copy the reset that I did and then just give you that to use. But kind of what I did was, and all you then will have to do is, highlight the whole thing here and then go in and copy that reset I did. So it's actually in here, I believe. And I'm going to copy this over now. I think this is my right one. Yeah, so this is the one I cleaned up. And this is the file. When I give you these files to use, this is already going to be in there. So you aren't going to have to worry about going in and redesigning all of this and taking this out. But the reset that we have here is causing some conflicts with how I wanted to write the code. And so remember that what the reset does is zero all of these default elements out. And again, it's just the whole transparency thing that was in there and so on. All of that is just too complicated. And when I do a reset, it's always just very simplistic. It's the main elements that I care about. So it's your HTML, your div, your H1, H2, H3, all the way up to H6, your paragraphs, your links, the M's, because those have a default on them. So all of these things, bold, italic, underlined, your DL, DT, DD, OL, we'll get into that later. And then I just zero out the margin, zero out the padding. So this is basically my default reset that I use. And what I'm going to do, and again, you don't have to do anything here. I'm just going to copy this. But when you open up your reset, this is the reset you're going to see is this one that I just showed you in the other document. That's the reset you're going to see. So I'm just going to highlight this whole thing and delete it and paste in that reset. And then, like I said, when you get your file, this is what it's gonna look like. All right. Okay, now you're probably saying, well, that messed things up. And yeah, it did kind of mess things up a little bit. But that's what I'm going to walk through with you now to fix, so that you have that and can use this reset now for forever. And then just make sure that it's above when you put it in here in your code. Make sure it's above everything else. It should be the very top thing, so that then when you start stylizing, you don't have a problem. All right, let's go into the base.css and kind of clean some of this up. So I made some changes here with a few things. This background too, the blue violet that I put in there yesterday, hopefully you guys don't have that. I'm going to put in a blue gray, see what that looks like. But, oh, we don't have a blue gray. So let's see, blue. How about if I do two separate words, gray? No, doesn't work either. All right, let's do gray instead. But you guys don't have to do that. You pick whatever background color you want. I really want kind of a purpley-ish that would match this, you know. So that's what you should do, is kind of copy that in there. But I don't want to take the time right now playing with it. All right, let's go in here. So body, I changed the background color, but you don't have to do that. You may be already chose a great color that you like. The container stays as it is. Your header is just as it is, with the background color being white. But what we failed to do for some reason in here was we didn't give our header a width and a height. And that's pretty crucial, because you want to make sure that your header is fitting the whole container here. So we want to do our header width. So put in a width for your header here, and that's going to be 100%. We want it to cover the whole container. So the width, I'm sorry, I didn't put a line here. So your width of the header is going to be 100%. And then the height is going to be 160. So height colon 160 pixels, px. Sorry, I didn't put a space here again. So height is 160. And I'll give you 1 second there to kind of fix that. All right, as far as our font here goes, the font size, the reason why this is kind of pushing this over, because right here is your image, but the reason why it's over like this is because this is so big. So we need to change our font size. And this was a result of, having it, choosing a different font than what, I initially had chosen when I was kind of working in this. So we're going to change the font size to 1.8 M. And then that's just going to move that over and plop that right up. So now your float right and the font weight being normal and your margins and all of that is now looking good. Make sure you save your base.css. All right, the next thing in here, all of your navs looks good and they float correctly. So all of this is, pretty much how we want it to be. It floats left. This is 140 pixels, 35. We got a good background color in there and so on. But what we don't want, because you see when I took off this in here, reset, well, now we've got bullets here for your list. So we don't want that. So we need to add that on here. So for your nav, li, right after your color there, hit your return key, and we want to say list hyphen style colon none. All right, so that's going to take away all of those bullet points. All right, the next one in here looked good. The NAVULLIA, I didn't find any real issue with that. That's working out just fine. The next one on here is your UL, and that also looks good. The NAVULLIA hover, the one we did in class there, looks good. But the next thing in here, what I want to do, again, because of removing some of that reset, that now this is kind of an issue here. So your H2, H3 is causing problems down here with this being too big, because this is wrapped in an H3, if you recall. If you don't recall, go into your source code and look at that data and all. So that whole thing, let's see where that is up here. So aside class equals whatever, or article aside, and then H3. Well, okay, well, this is too big and this isn't fitting correctly. So we need to do some work with that. And so as a result, this base in your base.css, let's go back to that. If you switched over to look and kind of verify that what I was saying was correct. Let's go back to that, and what I want to do is add on, make these separate. So right now what we did was we combined these, but we need to do need more data needs to be smaller. So our H3, we don't want that to be the 1.125. So we're going to just take the H3 out of here and then rewrite an H3 that'll better be able to be incorporated into this design here. All right, so highlight the H3 and the comma. Make sure you get the comma out of there and just hit delete. And now, of course, you'll see this go to the default H3, but we're going to fix that in a little bit. The rest of this looked fine. So your uppercase and so on, there wasn't any changes to that. All right, let's go right after the H2 here in your right curly brace there. Go ahead and hit return. And we're going to put in an H3 here. So H3, left curly brace, hit return to open that up. And these are the elements I want you to put in here. So we're going to say font hyphen size colon is going to be 0.7M. I think I changed that though, back to the 0.875. Put in 0.875. All right, that's okay, M. And then your text transform is going to be uppercase. Make sure you put your semicolon at the end there. So text transform. And that's going to be uppercase. And again, for these, you can cheat and scroll through there and find uppercase and put your semicolon. So that's looking pretty good now. The other thing we want to do with it is a letter spacing. So let's put in for letter spacing. So hit your return key and we'll do letter hyphen spacing. And that's going to be 0.2M. All right, now you notice that when we do that, now it takes it onto 2 lines over there, at least it does on my screen. So let's change that to 0.15 and see if that fits. And this is all about, styling. So that still didn't fit. Let's do 0.1. Let's do 0.05. There. So 0.05 is working for me. Again, go ahead down and kind of look at that. Pay attention to what it's doing. For you guys, it might be a little less or something. Or if you want a smaller font even up here, you can put like a 0.775 font, and then you can give that more spacing. So if I did something like that, then I could probably take this to 0.2m. It didn't fit, but let's try 1.5. That works. So 1.5 works at a 0.775. So you guys play with that, get it to fit in on your screen. And then we're also going to go in and kind of look at a few other things here, that we'll do. I'm going to fix the text inside here a little later, though. I'm down here in our code. But for the H3, that's going to work right there. All right, let's go on here. Your margin bottom. I'm going to save this, Command S, just because that had an asterisk up there. So make sure that you're always saving. All right, for the main, right after our P here, your paragraph H1, H2, H3, H4, let's slip in here a style for paragraphs in general, because again, when I remove that reset, then some of these things altered, and so I'm trying to kind of clean some of those up. So let's do a P. Do your left and right curly brace. Hit return to open that up. And then what I want to put in here is the line height, because this is way too tight in here, right? So we need, again, start using those basic design principles and think of how you can clean some of this up. How you can stylize it so it looks really aesthetically looks great. So let's do line height, hyphen height, colon, and it's going to be 1.5m. And now you'll see it's looking pretty good, right? Now I'm going to be fixing this, like I said, in a second here. But, because that needs to be a lot smaller and so on, but we'll fix that in a little bit. The other thing you can look at too, I'm not going to do that now, but the other thing you can look at is things like this. This is maybe a little bit too tight there for that picture. So you would want to put on some a margin on this or a padding on the picture to move that over. All right, so we'll scroll down here. Let's see your main, what did I do next here? I'm looking at my sheets. So the next thing I want to change is the article aside. So let's get down to that, and then we'll start kind of working with the other aside here and kind of picking up where we left off from yesterday. So right now we have this article aside. And what I need to do on here, we have a float left, the width is 12 m's, we have the color in here, we have padding and margin and border radius. And then the next thing we're going to do is do a paragraph for the article aside, because that's what's going to target this right here. So I want to clean that up. That's like way too tight. So I'm going to hit my return key. And I'm going to do period, remember, because this is a class style. So whenever you do a class equals something, then to stylize it, you start with a period. So this is a period, and then that'll pop up because that knows this is the only class style you have. So you can just click on that, article aside. And what we're going to target inside of that class style of article aside is a paragraph, so the P tag. Do your left and right curly brace. Hit return. Then we've got a margin in here of 0. That means all the way around. There's no margin. All right, the next one we're going to do padding, top. Padding hyphen, top, colon. 0. Make sure you put your semicolon. And then the font size, we're going to make this a little bit smaller. Font size, so font hyphen size is going to be 875 M, semicolon. All right, now we got one more thing we have to clean up because there's a little bit too much space right here. So I'm going to do that by putting also on the class style of article aside an H3 and change the bottom margin. So that's going to be article aside again, period, article aside, and then this is going to be H3. Do your left curly brace, open it up, and then put margin, hyphen, bottom, colon, 0.5 M, semicolon. There, and now it's starting to look a lot cleaner. It's a lot tighter. It aligns with this, and so it's looking pretty good. All right. I'm going to stop this video and proceed to starting to record another one. So the sizes aren't too big. So this will end this and kind of almost pick up where we left off yesterday, where, but I just cleaned some things up. So I'm going to stop the video. Uh-oh, I just noticed something here. Figure out why that just happened. All right, I'm going to stop the video, troubleshoot oh, never mind. It went back to where it's supposed to be. It was a matter of saving and resetting. That scared me a second there. All right, I'm going to save this, Command S, stop the video, and then I'll proceed with another video to finish this whole lesson up.